So, ladies and gentlemen, we have some major breaking news. We have some major breaking news on the DC front. Of course, as you guys all know by this point, or at least you should know unless you've been hiding under a rock for the last few months, James Gunn and Peter Safran did take over, being basically the Kevin Feige, the leads of the new DC cinematic universe, the new DCU, not the DCEU, not the Zack Snyder stuff. That's coming to an end, hopefully very, very soon. I've heard The Flash is absolutely terrible, and it's not doing very good at the box office at all, so I didn't go see The Flash. I don't plan to see The Flash because I'm not going to support Ezra Miller, and you know, that whole Snyderverse is going out the window, and that's pretty damn obvious with the news that we got today. So yeah, James Gunn, Peter Safran coming out, and they are making the announcement that they have casted their Superman and Lois Lane for the upcoming 2025 film Superman Legacy, which is supposed to be the beginning, which is supposed to be the start of James Gunn's new rebooted universe. And looking at this casting, looking at this pick, I have to say I'm pretty impressed by this. I'm not going to lie. So let's just go ahead and dive into it, man. Let's go ahead and look into it. So James Gunn, Peter Safran, and of course David Zaslaf, Warner Brothers, DC, have come out and they have announced that the Superman Legacy film has cast David Corenswet as Superman and Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. These, I think, are absolutely fantastic picks. So we're going to dive into these two actors this actor and this actress, and we're going to break down exactly why I think these two are really excellent casting choices for Superman and for Lois. So number one, you guys know that I love Henry Cavill. I think that he really didn't get a chance to be the Superman he could have been. He was the best thing going in the Snyderverse, in my personal opinion. I think he was the best cast person in that entire universe. You guys know, man, I love the dude. I love Henry Cavill, all right? I was all on board for Henry Cavill coming back as Superman, but it's obvious that James Gunn wants a clean slate. And, I can't blame the man for that. I really can't because, looking at it from a creator's point of view, do you really want to be weighed down? Do you want to be barged down with somebody else's story, with somebody else's mistakes? I mean, whether you like the Snyderverse or not, you can't deny it's very, very messy. And do you want to be weighed down by that? Do you want to be burdened by that? Or do you want to have a clean slate and you want to have a blank canvas on which you can paint something new, paint your own universe? So I can't blame James Gunn for wanting to move on from the Snyderverse. And unfortunately, that means that Henry Cavill obviously is not returning as Superman for this new rebooted universe, which is very, very sad. But instead, we're going to be getting David Corenswet, and I think that's a great casting choice. Now, look, I did put out a video some time ago where I used an AI program to cast famous actors and actresses as DC characters in the new universe, and David Corenswet was not my first choice. Obviously, my first choice is Henry Cavill, but he wasn't my new first choice. My first choice for this new Superman was actually Jacob Elordi, and I'll actually post a link to that video down in the description box down below. I have a part 2 of that casting that I am working on for other heroes and villains in the new DCU, the new James Gunn universe. I am working on that, and it should be coming out fairly soon. But my number one choice was actually Jacob Elordi. It was Jacob Elordi to be the new Superman. Unfortunately, that is not happening. That is not going down. That is not what James Gunn has decided. But I won't deny that David Corenswet was my number 2. He was my close number 2. And people are already coming out and saying, hey, this guy looks like Henry Cavill light. He looks like a younger Henry Cavill. And you're not wrong. He does look like a younger Henry Cavill. He really does. Like, this could be Henry Cavill's, I'm not going to say his son, but, I don't think the age gap is that large, but he could be Henry Cavill's younger brother, all right? Like, he does look like Henry Cavill, and I don't think that's an accident. I think this is kind of a way to kind of throw a bone to the people that really love Henry Cavill, such as myself. But David Corenswet was my number one choice. Was not my number one choice. It was Jacob Elordi. But I'm not mad about this because David Corenswet was easily a close second. He really was. And I did do a poll on the channel a long time ago. I think it was 6 months ago or something like that, where I did ask, my subscribers, like, who do you want cast as the new Superman? And you guys voted overwhelmingly for David Corenswet. It was like 80% you guys voted David Corenswet to be the new Superman. So congratulations. You guys got your wish. David Corenswet is your new Superman. And I think this is great. Now look, David Corenswet has not been in a lot of stuff. I really haven't seen a lot of his stuff, to be honest with you. I've seen some clips here and there of different things. But he's not a very well-known actor. And I think that's actually a positive. I think that's actually a good thing. Because him not being a well-known actor, you're not going to see David Corenswet on screen. You're going to see Superman. And that's something that is really lost when it comes to acting these days. That is something that Hollywood has forgotten, is that actors today, they become these stars. They become these huge icons in and of themselves. So when you see them on screen, you see the actor, you don't really see the character. A good actor will become the character. So you don't even see the actor anymore. You just see the character. And I think casting a relative unknown as Superman is a smart move because you're going to see Superman on screen. You're not going to see David Corenswet. I think that was a really smart move. And I really do like this choice. So let's talk about Lois Lane. So we have Rachel Brosnahan as Lois Lane. Now, she has a little bit more history. She has a little bit more that we can peel into to really get an idea of where we're going with this. Now, admittedly, I've not watched a lot of her stuff. I think she was in a show called Hollywood on Netflix, if I'm not mistaken. But since this news did come out earlier today, I have looked into her. I have, seen some other people comment on this, people that I trust, people's opinions that I think are solid, and they say she's a fantastic choice, that she's a really good actress. So I'm going to believe them. I'm going to believe their opinion on her, and I'm all for it. I think she's going to be a great Lois Lane. She has won quite a few awards. I think she has a couple of Golden Globes. I think she has an Emmy, if I'm not mistaken. I don't really put much stock into those award shows, though, because I tend to think that the Hollywood awards and everything, I tend to think those are usually circle jerks, to be honest with you. It's Hollywood awarding Hollywood, so I don't put much stock into that, but I have heard from people she's a really solid actress. And these two definitely have the look. I mean, looking at them, I have a picture of them on screen right now, looking at these two. I could easily see them playing Superman and Lois Lane. So right off the bat, we have our first casting for the new DC reboot, the new James Gunn DCU. And it's solid, man. Like, this is a really, really, really solid announcement. And boy, does it feel good to be able to talk about something positive, to be able to talk about good news for once, because there's been a lot of bad news when it comes to pop culture lately. But it feels good to actually talk about something fun and good and positive. And DC looks like, once we get through all this Snyderverse crap that we're getting through, The Flash, and I don't know how Blue Beetle's going to turn out, Aquaman 2, once we get through all that, we can actually hopefully get to a good DC universe. And this bodes well. This is a good sign, all right? Now, I'm still somewhat hesitant about the James Gunn universe overall because, there are some weird choices in there. There's like that monster movie, which is strange. Swamp Thing, which I'm not against Swamp Thing getting a movie, but, in phase 1 or chapter 1, as they're calling it, I think it's a little too early. I think chapter 1 really needs to focus on the Justice League. The Batman movie, I think it's too early to bring in Damian Wayne. I've said in other videos, I think they need to bring in, Tim Drake, or, if you want to, you can start off with Dick Grayson. But I think that, the newest Robin to go with, as far as that goes, is Tim Drake, and I wouldn't go any newer until we get later on into the DC universe. You can bring in Damian Wayne later, but no, they're bringing in Damian Wayne now. That's going to be crazy, and it really suggests that, while we're going to have a younger Superman, we're actually going to have an older Batman, because we're already bringing in Damian. Like, that's going to be an interesting dynamic between this universe's Bruce Wayne and Clark Kent. Clark's going to be significantly younger than Bruce, so that's going to be very, very interesting. So there actually was a little bit more information coming out about Superman Legacy and what the film is going to focus on as far as the plot goes. There was some new information that came out with this announcement. So, according to what we got about the film's plot with the announcement of this casting choice, is that Superman Legacy is going to, and this is coming from, I think it was a Variety article, if I'm not mistaken, and the Variety article says, Superman Legacy is going to be focusing on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing. And I kind of, that's what I expected from the movie, to be honest with you. A film called Superman Legacy. What is Superman's legacy this early in his life? Like, what is the legacy he's trying to live up to? Well, it's the legacy of Krypton. It's the legacy of his father and mother and his family on Krypton, but it's also the legacy of the Kents. It's also the legacy of his human parents, his adoptive parents, and trying to balance that. You know, like, who is Clark Kent really? Is he Kal-El? Is he Clark Kent? Is he Superman? And trying to balance that. And I think what that bodes here is that, you know, we're going to discover him trying to balance between Clark Kent and Kal-El, and he's going to realize in this movie that Superman is the balance of those two things. The Superman identity combines both of those things, the legacy of Krypton and the legacy of the Kents. And I think if that's the plot they're going for, that's awesome. Like, that's what I would do if I was making this movie. That's what I would do if I was making a Superman movie. It's an origin story, but it's not really an origin story, because also Superman's already working at the Daily Planet. He's already in Metropolis. He's already, Lois Lane is a co-worker in this movie. So I assume that he's probably already donned the costume. He's already doing the hero stuff. So I think it's going to be more of a psychological exploration as to what does it mean to be Superman? What does it mean to be a hero? What does it mean to be the last son of Krypton? What does it mean to be the son of the Kents? You know, and it's going to be exploring what it means to be Superman. And that's a way to do an origin story without really doing an origin story, because you're going into the psychology of the character. And for people who say that Superman is not deep, he has no depth to him, bull crap, all right? I hope this movie proves everybody wrong. That's what I'm hoping for. Show the world that there is depth and there is complexity to Superman, because there absolutely is. He is one of the best superheroes there is, all right? I love Superman. He does not get as much love as he should. He really doesn't. But yeah, that's the news, guys. That is the news. David Corenswet is your new Superman. And I think it's a fantastic casting choice. I absolutely love it. Again, I was going for Jacob Elordi as my number one choice, but Corenswet was a close second, so I'm not mad about this at all. And Rachel Brosnahan is your Lois Lane. I think this is a fantastic announcement. And given this announcement, this great casting choice, given some of the information that we've got about the movie, about what it's going to be focusing on, you know, the legacy of Krypton, the legacy of the Kents, like, I love it. Like, I love everything I'm hearing about this movie. I, honest to God, love it. It honestly sounds like what I would do with the Superman movie if I was making a Superman movie. Like, if you said, okay, you're going to make the first film in this new universe, it's going to be a Superman movie, what do you do? This sounds a lot like some ideas that I have for a Superman movie, focusing on this stuff. I love it. I love it. So I do think that there's some weird stuff that James Gunn has announced about Chapter 1. Don't know how I feel about Damian being introduced this early into the story. And I like Damian, but I think it's too early to bring Damian into the story. I don't know about Green Lantern being a TV series or a streaming series or whatever. I think they need to focus on the movies right now. I think they need to make everything a movie and not do any series. It is a little bit weird, but this gives me hope. This makes me happy. This makes me smile. And since I don't get to talk about good news very much, I'm going to enjoy this, all right? This is a very, very good announcement, and it does give me some renewed hope for what James Gunn is doing. hopefully he doesn't screw it up. All right, so give me your thoughts on this casting announcement. Give me your thoughts on the new information that we got about Superman Legacy. Tell me your thoughts about all of this down in the comments section down below. Thank you guys so much for watching. And of course, for more DC content, for more movie content, for more film content, for more pop culture in general, you guys know what to do. You guys know what to do. Click the bell, click the subscribe button, like, all that good stuff. You guys know what to do. But anyways, give me your thoughts on this. Give me your thoughts on this casting announcement. What do you think about David Cornsweet, Rachel Brosnahan being your new Superman and Lois Lane? Give me your thoughts on this down in the comments section down below. I am very interested to see what you guys have to say about this. I love it. And until the next one, this is JeskerJames. Oh, and I have a Patreon. Check out my Patreon. Link to that down in the description box down below. But anyways, yeah, so I'm about out of breath. I'm very excited about this. Very happy about this. I don't know if you guys can tell, but yeah, this is JeskerJames with a Z, and I am signing off.